Not a special bait. Most of the stuff I'm going to show you or talk to you about, it'll apply to any plastics. But pass some of those around and let the guys look at it. Like I said, it's just my bait of choice that I like to fish with. This is the regular speed craw, and then this is the super speed craw. One of the things I like about the super speed craw, it's a good bulky bait. This is a baby brush hog, and they're almost the same size. The brush hog just a little bit longer. I like this because of the width. It's a little bit wider, and the claws on it are very strong. There's some other baits out there that's kind of a claw bait, and I mean, you lose the claw if you get it hooked on a limb. You know what I'm saying? The claws are strong on that super speed craw. That's my favorite one to flip with. Now, the most important thing for this bait is the hook, and more important than that is the knot. I always throw this, or any plastics I throw on a snail knot. Now that's probably a good thing we can do one time is knots. Somebody that's good at knots. But I throw this on a snail knot for one reason. When you set the hook with this weight, you see how that hook does that cam action? It'll when you set the hook, it's going in the roof of his mouth, and that snail knot pulls on the string wrapped around the shaft, not the eye, because you're not tying it on the eye, and I can show you how to do that. But I don't know if y'all can see that, but that hook is kicking up every time you pull on it, on that snail knot. I always peg. I'm just a peg guy. I automatically peg all my weights. Some guys don't. It's personal preference. I just like pegging. This is the same thing. What I do in muddy water. And again, if you like noise, some guys are, the silent type, some are the noisy type. I like to throw noise, especially in muddy water. I'll add a glass bead to it with the weight. Y'all can hear that? I didn't actually. Okay. But it makes a lot of noise, especially with that glass bead. I like to do that in muddy water. And again, that snail knot. See how that cam action? That works good.
Tim, can you pass that around?
Yeah, sure. Just don't hook yourself. That's a trocar hook. I like to throw a trocar hook. I use the 4/0 on the super speed craw and the 3/0 on the small one. For the guys that don't peg, you just use a bobber stopper. The little things that stop your corks when you're brim fishing. That's what I use. Sometimes you have to use 2 of them. If it's like on braid, a lot of times, because that braid will eat through them bobber stoppers, I'll do 2. Sometimes I'll put a bobber stopper. I'll tie my snail, put a bobber stopper, put my weight, then another bobber stopper. So you can that does 2 things. You can do a modified Carolina rig if you want, if you see the fish are wanting that. And so that's just some different variations. This we use for a Carolina rig. I use the super speed craw for a Carolina rig. I use it for a shaky head. And the reason I'm telling you all of this, you don't have to buy all the different baits. Because I know some guys, the automatic Carolina rig bait is what? A lizard. Most guys will throw a lizard. I'll throw that super speed craw. Big catches. Jigs, that's my trailer. On half and less, I use the regular speed craw. On half and larger, I use the super speed craw. A punching jig, I'll do a punching jig. I'll use the speed craw. I use that just about on everything other than, because I honestly, now that with this, I very seldom throw a worm. I always use this. And if I throw a worm, it's going to be the Super Vibe speed worm, which has the same tail as this, and it's good for swimming. Another thing, my swim jigs, super speed craw, because the claws, if you look at the super speed craw, the claws on there are made for swimming, and they will swim. And normally what I'll do when I'm pitching, say the cypress tree or a cover or whatever, I always swim this bait back. Always. I never just pick it up and because you'll get a hit on that swim back, and then that'll tell you something. So it's kind of like 2 baits in one. You can also use this kind of like a horny toad, because the horny toad has kind of the same flippers. This one it swims good over over grass or whatever, and it makes a good splashing sound. So the reason I like it because it's versatile. You don't have to have all the different baits, that they have out there, which I do, but I'm trying to eliminate a lot of that. That's why I found that bait, and I've tried the Strike Kings. I've tried the other ones. I've tried the Bass Candy makes a good one, but there's something that I don't like about them, whatever the reason is. Either the plastic's not strong enough, or the size is not right. That's just my comfort bait. If you don't like to throw a jig, or you're not used to throwing a jig, I throw what I call a modified jig. This is kind of like a punching rig because I have a big weight on it. But all I do is do a Texas rig, and I just add a skirt. And then you do whatever weight you want, 1/2 ounce or 3/8. And that kind of gives you just a modified jig without actually buying or using a jig if you're not used to jig fishing. I'm not, and I'm just learning how to jig fish. So that's why I do that sometimes. Any questions?
Color?
My favorite color is blackberry. It's my favorite color. I'm going to start off with that clear water, dirty water, it doesn't matter. That's just my color. I don't even mess with the watermelon reds. I know that's popular, the June bugs, 2 colors. I got it down to, yeah, that's why I'm giving those away. No. I'm just kidding. That's why I went to the blackberry. And you can't, the only problem with blackberry is you have to order them because there's nobody that carries them around here. Larry carries blackberry in the brush hog, in the baby brush hog, but he doesn't have it. Not too many people carry the Speed Craws or the Super Speed Craws. Academy hardly doesn't have them at all. Zoom. This is a Zoom bait. Yeah, but Larry has a good selection of them. He just doesn't have the blackberry, and that's the one I found that I like the best because it works in both waters. I've caught them in clear water. I've caught them in dirty water with it because it's just dark enough for the dirty water.
Is that a bait you use in every month? Or,
Yeah, that's my go-to bait right here. I'm going to have a rod with probably 2 of them tied on most of the time. It's just because that's my go-to. That's what I'm going to flip right here. The Mermentau, we talked about the Mermentau last year. I was throwing this. I practiced the Mermentau 3 times. Didn't catch a fish. But I never threw the Speed Craw. The reason I started throwing the Speed Craw, the Thursday before the tournament, Maddie was fishing with me, and she was swimming that Speed Craw back to the boat and she caught a fish. That's the only fish I'd ever seen come out of the Mermentau. So taking Mr. Jim's advice, when you're on fish, you stay on them. You go back to them. 1 11-inch fish, that's what brought me back to that area, and she caught swimming a Speed Craw. So I started throwing that Speed Craw because I hadn't thrown it any other practices. And we wound up winning the tournament on that Speed Craw. So that, whether it was coincidence or whatever, that was my little signal that I needed to do that and start with that.
How would that be any better than, say, a baby brush hog?
I don't know. I could have probably done the same thing with a baby brush hog. It's just, this is my confident bait.
More vibration out of that.
Well, you probably do, yeah. Especially that Super Speed Craw, because we won it on that Super Speed Craw, and because those pinchers move. And one other thing that this is the secret of all secrets.
Secret of all secrets.
The way I like to fish these is I rig them upside down. Okay. Normally you Texas rig, which it works good, but you rig this thing like this. See how them pinchers are standing? And that bass is going to go for those pinchers, and the hook's over here. So you got a better hook ratio because they're going for the meat of this bait, and so he's going to swallow that hook. A lot of times we did it in Patterson. Those fish were grabbing this and swimming, and I mean I fought a fish all the way back to the boat. I mean tugging like I had him hooked, and pulled up and boom, and the pinchers were still on and everything was good. The hook wasn't even penetrated the plastic, but they were picking this up and doing that. So what I started doing is just hooking it upside down. When I see that bite is finicky, or if you're throwing this on bedding fish, you throw a white one like this on bedding fish, upside down like that, they're gonna kill it. It's just a versatile bait versus throwing a, you know, I know guys throw worms all the time, they catch fish. It's just a worm, you just throw it one way.
You always use a weight?
Yes, on this I do. Yeah, I always throw, sometimes I'll throw a small weight, but I'm always probably throwing a 3-ounce weight most of the time. Unless the water's deep, I might throw a little 1/2 ounce.
3/8?
Yeah, a 3/8. What I said?
3
3 ounce. Wow. I'm not punching yet. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm not punching concrete.
How do you work it? Like steady, or you?
Well, that's the controversy in my family. I'm a hopping guy, and Maddie's a dragon. She says I don't. Tell me, Ezra.
I'm a dragger.
Yeah, they like to drag, and they say I fish this wrong. So, but I hop it just like you would a jig or something like that, and sometimes I drag it. I don't get bit dragging. They get bit dragging. Who knows? Who knows why? I don't know. But they drag it. They love to drag that bait. And they catch. They'll outfish me out of the back of the boat a lot of times. But I have never caught it dragging. I've always caught hopping.
You said Maddie caught it pulling it across the top. She was
She was swimming it, just swimming it back. If you swim this bait, I mean, it's like spinnerbait blades. I mean, it's working. And if you throw a swim jig, try that as your trailer, because it works. I mean, it's segmented, so you can cut it down if you need to. But the claws on this thing's got great action. A lot of the other claw baits doesn't have this little V thing in it. See, it makes a little V, so it gives it that swimming action. Most of them are just solid, so you don't get quite that action. I know a lot of people throw the rage crawl. I haven't had any success with the rage crawl. I have had more success with this one. I throw the packer crawl too. I know you throw the packer crawl, and it's basically the same thing. I have no confidence in it. This is, like I said, this is all about confidence too. If you had success, with the bait, and this is my go-to bait. Another quick thing, these are salted, so that's another reason why the more salted your bait is, the less action you're going to get out of it if it's just laying there, because it's heavy. So that's why you want to try to maybe rig it up a little bit different where it has a little bit different action, because if this thing's laying down, it's going to have a little bit different action than just laying flat like that. It still has action, but you're going to add just a little bit more to it. Another thing I don't do, and it might cost me some plastics, after I fish a tournament or I fish, I always take all my plastics off of my hooks. Because if you notice, I have one in here, it might be that one y'all passing around, that hook has a little bit of rust on it. And that bait will rust that hook, especially at your knot. And if you don't retie it, if you let it sit in your boat for 2 weeks or whatever, it's gonna make that little rust spot, and it's got a potential of cutting that line. So always take your plastics off, your jigs too, because I don't know how many jigs I've thrown away because I've learning, put my trailer on just to be ready, and I pull my jig and the hook's half rusted, So that's just a little tip, y'all. Might help some of y'all guys. And I always retie after every tournament. Like if it's a 2-day tournament, I'm retying, and after every practice, I'm retying, especially for a tournament. It'll save you some fish.
What kind of line do you use?
I'm throwing this on 20-pound trilene fluorocarbon vanish. That's or the braid. I don't throw too much braid. And when I'm flipping, I usually do the 20-pound trilene vanish. I like it. It's affordable. That's one of the reasons why I like it. It's not an ultra expensive fluorocarbon line, and I'm throwing it on just a worm rod. And I use the All-Stars. I like the All-Star rods with the Luz reels. That's a good combination for me. I like it. So. Anybody else?
And if you need to rig one of these up, take it over to Tony's pool, swimming pool.
Oh yeah, try it out. Yeah. But anyway, it's I know everybody's got their confident bait, but remember the snell knot. remember that, because that'll help you if you're missing some hooks. You know, it might be the conventional knot's just not working that hook. You get a lot more action out of that hook if you snell knot it. So any little bit of action you can get either in your hook or your bait might help you catch that fish that's just looking at it. And you know, like I said, you never know the ones that you don't catch. You just know about the ones you do catch. So.
Tim.
Yes, sir.
You ever use straight hooks on there? You know, instead of
a wide gap
Yeah.
offset? No, I haven't.
just use wide.
I just use wide gap. I like the clearance it gives you. And even if the only time I'll throw maybe a straight hook, it'll still be an offset. It won't be a wide gap. It's on a Cinco. You know, that type thing. But I'm always using a wide gap on this.
It works like a runner.
Yeah. Yeah, you mean the wide gap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your bait
Right.
in line.
In line. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. That trocar hook, again, you know, most of my stuff I have to weigh price. You know what I'm saying? There's always better and more expensive, and then there's always cheap that'll make you lose fish, and then I try to go somewhere in the middle because, you know, we are on a budget. But so if you can afford better, buy better. You know, if you can't, then get the best you can get with what you have. All right. But try 'em. I mean, it's a good bait. It really is. I've won some tournaments on it. The only place I've never thrown this is in Toledo Bend.
Really?
I've never thrown this in Toledo Bend. I was just thinking about that the other day. I've never thrown it in Toledo Bend. Of course, I haven't fished Toledo Bend that much to vary up on our baits, but that's the only place I've never thrown it.
What's the other color that you threw when we fished? It was like a light blue.
Blue sapphire.
Blue sapphire.
Blue sapphire is great for the Merman. Not the Mermentau. I'm just hooked on that. The Amelia area. If you want to try this and you fish in Amelia, Stevensville, blue sapphire. I've caught fish on it. I've seen some big fish caught on that blue sapphire speed craw out of Amelia. I'm trying to downsize, so I'm trying to, do the watermelon red June bug, and that's all I need type thing. I don't worry about the other colors, but in this I have every color in both sizes. So, the Okeechobee craws and all of that, but it doesn't. I don't think it matters that much. I think if you put it in front of the fish and it's time for them to eat, they're going to eat, so.
But it's interesting, the studies they've done on how fish do
I know.
differentiate colors.
Blue is the only color that stays blue through the water column. Okay? So that's why I guess that sapphire blue works good in that muddy water, that dirty water, that stained water. Red is the worst. I like to fish red. Man, red bug or red shad. But that's only good till about 3 to 4 foot. After that, it loses its color.
Perfect.
And that's in,
Perfect for our water.
Yeah, right. Well, now that's it. The water has to be right too. I mean, it has to be clear enough for the fish to see. But red will lose its color at 3 or 4 feet. Blue stays true through the water column. So that's why blue is actually probably a better color than red is in some instances.
Thank you, Tim.
All right?
All right.